Welcome and welcome back. Today, Jagex released the first leak for the leagues, and it is the Tier 1 relics, so let's jump into it. The first one is going to be the Power Miner relic. As will be true with all of these, you're going to get a crystal equivalent of a pickaxe, has no requirements to use, non-degradable. Let me just say, rip the Taranwin stocks, alright? The crystal tools were already hard to make. Now they're just useless. What can you do? With this one, it is going to allow you to just mine a lot of ore. It's going to do things like making sure the ores don't deplete on the first thing that you mine. You're going to be able to mine up to 4 ores, stacks with things like the mining gloves, so you're able to potentially mine up to 7 ores from a single rock, which is super nice. Everything that you mine is going to be sent to the bank, and you can also smelt ores, get smithing XP as you're mining them, so it's immediately going to turn them into bars, which is super nice because smelting ores in the league is like such a pain in the butt unless you have blast furnace for Fremnik, and even still, this essentially removes the requirement for coal, so you don't really have to worry about it. It is also going to allow you to automatically cut gems that you mine. This is essentially just for the gem rocks that are in Shiloh Village, so that is going to end up being a really great mining and crafting training method, albeit it's probably going to be really busy because of this. But hopefully with things like the rocks not depleting, I know that this technically says ore, but I imagine that this is going to work on the gem rocks as well. Hopefully it won't be quite as bad. Now, something that I think is interesting with these is this 50% chance to succeed when you fail to mine a rock. And this is just a flat like coin flip percentage, which is really going to boost the strength of mining high level ores, because normally one of the big issues is you're just kind of like sitting there forever waiting for the ore to get collected. But since you just naturally are going to have this 50% chance, any of the high level rocks, mithril, adamant, runite, are suddenly going to become really good mining experience for you. One other nice benefit of this relic is actually going to be pure essence. Because everything that you mine is going to go to the bank, you can essentially just AFK mine through the rune essence mine, which probably not the best experience, but even in leagues, you know, with a big multiplier, it is going to be decent, and it's going to be, I mean, literally you just click and that's it. Your guy just goes until you log out. A couple of things that I want to call out as sort of like special interactions that I think will really help amp up this relic if these are areas that you're already going to pick. The first one is in Asgarnia. Asgarnia is the big mining region. So, you know, of course you get a bunch of high level rocks that you can mine, but especially with amethyst, no extra letters there. Not only is it going to be faster to mine with this 50% chance to succeed, you're also going to get multiple rocks out of each node. So the mining for amethyst is just going to become that much stronger. And of course, amethyst is good as like crafting, but also down the line when you get some Slayer points, you can use it for fletching as well. You've also got some maybe like unintended consequences for picking this up. In Taranwin, you're going to be fighting Zolcano, and while I think this relic kind of defeats the purpose of Zolcano, because it's a crystal equivalent, it's going to be better at taking down Zolcano. And likewise, in both Kourend and the desert, both of the raids have a mining room. I think it's maybe a little less important for Kourend because you could potentially skip doing the Guardians, but with Tombs of Amasket, you're always going to have to do this mining room, and it's that same principle that applies. It is the equivalent of a crystal pickaxe. So you're going to be able to do things like one down the obelisk in Tombs of Amasket. So I wouldn't necessarily pick this relic for those activities specifically, but I'll circle back and I'll talk a little bit about that later. Next up, we have got the Lumberjack relic. While I'm not going to say any of these are bad, I do think this is the clear loser of the bunch. I'm sorry people who love this relic, but the skills that you're looking at are woodcutting, fire making, and fletching, and much like the mining one, you're getting this crystal equivalent axe. It's going to bank everything that you woodcut. It's going to give you that 50% chance, that coin flip anytime that you're chopping trees, so it's going to be really good for those high level trees if you want to get those logs. And you can automatically burn the logs or fletch them into arrow shafts. I think it's kind of unfortunate that you can only do arrow shafts, but is what it is. I guess the other thing that they note here is that you never fail making fires, though. Since you can just burn the logs automatically, I don't know how much you're really going to use this. Now, it doesn't really have a lot in the way of like special interactions. You do get redwood trees in Kourend, but pretty much every other area just has some sort of high level tree there. There's no sort of like raid or like mini game that you really have to worry about. I don't think think this is gonna do anything beneficial for you in Wintertod either. So probably the one that I'm least excited about. But again, I'll talk about kind of all of the interactions and how I would pick between these three here in a minute. And for the last tier 1 relic, we have got Animal Wrangler. This one is gonna impact your fishing, your cooking, and your hunter. So again, you're getting that crystal equivalent of a harpoon. It actually will function as other fishing things as well. So like the net, the big net, lobster pot, rods. The only thing that they don't list out here would be like the Karambwan, whatever, what is it called? Like a vessel? So some of those like really specific fishing tools, it may not actually function as the tool itself, but you can still keep this on you and get the benefits for that. So again, like the other three, you get that coin flip, which makes it really good for any sort of high level fishing. Banking everything, it is giving you a 50% chance of cooking things. So it's not gonna cook everything that you catch, it's gonna cook half of the stuff that you catch, but I think it will still be pretty fast. It is also increasing your fishing speed by 1 tick. Now, I'm not an expert in terms of like how fast you normally catch fish, but the way that I interpret this is you're just going to catch fish a little bit faster. On the hunter side of things, you get hunter traps never failing. You get box traps capturing chinchompas faster. When you're catching chinchompas, you're going to catch 2 of them and you get XP for both of those. So it's doubling the XP there, and your impling jars no longer break. So for those sort of like area interactions that you can look for, the wilderness, black chins, dark crabs, I don't think it's quite as strong on dark crabs because you can always go out to the resource area and have the NPC that's out there noting all of your stuff. But it does mean that you can essentially AFK permanently at the dark crab spots that are in the resource area. So it's almost like a higher level Karambwan fishing kind of deal. Friend, you're getting anglerfish. These are typically very slow, but because you have this coin flip and the 1 tick faster chance to catch, I actually think this is kind of in the similar vein of like amethyst mining. This is going to become just really strong for fishing. Kandarin, you pick up red chin, so you get that hunter buff. You also have barbarian fishing, so not only are you going to be able to get a load of different XP while doing that, because you're catching things 1 tick faster, you can actually probably get some like pretty insane rates, not just for fishing, but also strength and agility by training this out here. I know people have like 3 tick barbarian fishing. I wonder if someone's going to be able to manage like 2 tick barbarian fishing. That sounds terrible, by the way, but that would be kind of interesting. Now for Varlamore, I think this is maybe a little bit of an interesting one. You've got access to hunter rumors, and you may be thinking, well, if I've got access to hunter rumors, I'm already going to be training my hunter so quickly, so why would I take this relic? And the thing that I think about with this is because your hunter traps will never fail. Plus you get a few other benefits if you end up opening areas with red chins. I think this is going to help accelerate hunter rumors a little bit. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I think it's going to be definitely better at the early levels with things like hunter traps not failing. Catching some of the creatures can be a pain in the butt, but because hunter rumors are already so strong, giving you a lot of supplies, giving you a lot of XP, I think even just getting that slight boost is gonna be pretty meaningful for you. We'll have to see on it. That one's maybe a little more speculative than some of the other area things that I've listed out here, but let me know what you think of that. Taranwin also has red chins, so Taranwin's gonna benefit from all of the different chin pieces there. There are also the sacred eels, though I do kind of wonder how the cooking piece is gonna interact with that. If it will automatically scale the eels, that could be pretty good. Banking them, I'm like a little less excited about because you would still have to go through and scrape the scales off of them if you wanted to kind of get like the other half of that XP. So we'll have to see. That may be a benefit of Taranwin, maybe not. And of course, the last thing being in the desert. Now, because this is a crystal equivalent of the harpoon, you're probably going to be able to down Temperos really fast. And also because you get the sort of like 50% chance to automatically cook things, when you're doing the fishing in the minigame, it's going to have a chance to cook the things that you're catching there. So not only for the crystal tool doing extra damage to the boss, also just getting to the stage where you can go and damage him, all of that is going to be sped up. And while I don't think you get a lot of benefit out of like the cooking side of things for this, because Temperos is going to give you a lot of raw fish that you're then going to have to go and like use on a stove somewhere, I think the fact that it gives you kind of like a double benefit in Temperos might actually make it more worth it for the desert to take this one. Now, that's it for the specifics of the relics, and I know a lot of you have been asking, how do you decide which one to take? This is kind of like a quick overview for you. I think for myself, I'll say the first point of decision for me is which of these skills do I like training the least? because all of the areas are going to get some sort of benefit out of all of these. So really what it comes down to is which of these skills do you find the most annoying to train? Now, to go into like each specific relic, for the mining one, there's definitely some areas that get more benefit out of this one. So like Asgarnia, I already talked about being essentially the mining region. So not only do you have amethyst, but you also have just a lot of high level rocks. You've also got a lot of mining tasks in this region. So being able to both train your mining up, have a higher level tool, and be able to get some benefits for at least some of the things that you're mining, I think it's going to help Asgarnia a lot. And kind of similarly with Taranwin, you get a lot of rocks in the Elven area, both in the swamp and in the Prifddinas mine. Plus you've got Volcano kind of peeking now around the corner there. So I think Taranwin's going to benefit a lot from the mining one. The wilderness has a fair few number of rocks littered around the area, so I think the wilderness also gets some pretty good benefit out of the mining one. And then of course you've got Kuren for the Guardian Room. That one's kind of interesting. The desert is a little bit more complicated because yes, you get a benefit in Tombs of Amasket, but you've already got the Giant's Foundry for smithing and sandstone for mining. And while you do get some benefit out of sandstone mining with this relic, I don't think it's like that important. So I'm a little bit torn on that one specifically. The woodcutting relic itself, it doesn't really have anything interesting going on. I mean, if you really wanted to train up these 3 skills, great. Kuren is one where I lean towards don't take this one if you've got Kuren, just because you're already going to be doing winter taunts. So you're going to have fire making already laid out for you. You're going to get some woodcutting and fletching XP both in the minigame, and also it's going to just give you a bunch of supplies. There's maybe a case to be made about Kuren has the woodcutting guild. I think that one's kind of weak personally, but yeah, I mean, that is certainly a use case for it. And then on the fishing and the hunter relic, I think you're going to get the most benefit out of these top 3. Barlamore with the hunter rumors. Kandarin, you get access to things like barbarian fishing, red chins. You're getting to take advantage of basically this entire relic. Kind of similar deal with the wilderness. You've got dark crabs. I think it's going to be really good AFK. You've got black chins. Plus you've also got black salamanders before you get there. So you're going to be getting a lot of benefit from this relic. With Kuren, you get anglerfish, so you get a little bit of benefit there. Taranwin, you've got red chins, so again, a little bit of benefit. And then the desert, I'm expecting for Temperos, this is gonna like melt Temperos. I really think it's gonna do a lot for Temperos for you. So that is all I've got for you. I will be covering all of the leaks as they come out, so subscribe if you want to see that. I've got my Discord linked down below, and of course I will be streaming at the start of the league on the 27th. It is going to be starting at 6 a.m. Central Time. I am going to start my stream at 9 a.m. Central Time, so a couple hours after the start if you want to join me as I'm going through and playing the league. And with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you tomorrow.